Welcome back. This is your man Warrior for another in-depth character review, and I am excited. Stormtrooper Han is awesome. I think everybody that has him knows this, and anyone that does not have him is honestly learning this painfully, probably in the arena right now. Stormtrooper Han is a light side character. He is a human, a tank, but he is a rebel and a scoundrel. I will tell you that is one of the most versatile tags you can have is rebel and scoundrel, because it lets you be used pretty much in every area of the game. This character, Stormtrooper Han, is absolutely vital, critical, if you will, in almost every area of the game. I would give him an overall Galaxy Star rating of 5 stars. He's an absolute must-have. Anyone that has him would agree. Anybody that does not have him should go out and get him. Now, he, like I said, is usable everywhere, from the arena to Galactic War. You've got multiple mod battles. You've got the mod battle, or the mod challenges that need scoundrels. You've got the mod challenge that needs rebels. You've obviously got the training bot thing that comes and goes every week and a half or so, the credit heist that comes and goes every week and a half or so, and of course you've got just many areas where scoundrels are needed, and many areas where the rebels are needed, such as Emperor Palpatine. So he is exceptionally usable, just like Lando Calrissian is, and I would highly recommend everyone getting him. So where are you going to find him? He's only found in one area of the game for the most part, and that is the squad arena shipments. I would prioritize getting him there and using him. If you are doing a droid team, you may put HK or IG-88 above him, but I would recommend, if you're not doing a droid team, to put him as the first priority, especially because he's got so much utility available to him. Now, his base power is about 7,900, which is not very high, especially for a tank. His base speed is 126. That's actually pretty good to start, and his health is 16,600-ish, and health is not very good. He's one of the squishiest tanks in the entire game. I think he's actually the squishiest tank in the game. Now, I have him for the purpose of this video, 7-star, level 80 max gear. When I say max gear, I mean he's at gear 11. They did just recently drop the new level increase from level 80 to 85, and so there are some new things, like this one can be installed at level 81, but of course, like many people, I'm not at 81, 82, or 83 yet, so I can't put some of this new gear in there. That's 84, this one's 83, but I will get there eventually. But I am not rushing to get to level 85, and that is my tip of the day. There are a lot of people who are spending a lot of money on a lot of crystals to get a lot of energy so they can be the first one to level 85. Let me be the first one to tell you, you will gain nothing more than some superficial health and protection by doing so. It will not benefit you, and everybody on your shard will catch up within a few days. So it is pointless to be the first one to 85. Now, if you're stressing out about gaining level, just don't worry about it. It honestly does not make a difference. A level 80 team will be able to take out a level 85 team, because there are no new abilities being introduced during this update. So you can go ahead and take your time leveling up to level 85. I know if you're competitive, you want to get there as fast as possible, but don't let it bother you, because you will only get a superficial amount of health and protection by getting them from 80 to 85. So it's not worth it. Just do what you normally do, and be proud and happy that the energy you're spending is now not being wasted, rather going towards a level increase, and you still get your Omega ability materials at the end of your dailies each day, even after level 80, so that is exciting. So we know where to find him. We know his basic abilities. As far as the gear that I just mentioned, he does take 3 raid gear parts. This is the old stats. The Star Wars Galaxy Heroes.gg website has not been updated yet to update the amount of gearing that will be needed to include the new pieces, but as of the last update with the gear pieces, he was at 3 raid gear parts, which is average, and 865 purples, which is a little high, so he is a bit of a grind on the purples, and he's about 420,000 credits to apply those pieces inside of his gearing. So he's a bit expensive and a bit of a grind on the gear, but he is worth every bit of it. Let's go ahead and go through his attacks and abilities so you know more about why he's amazing. Wary Shot I have up there to level 7. I do not have it Omega'd, but I do recommend doing so. When it's Omega'd, it will deal physical damage to a target enemy with a 55% chance to gain 35% turn meter. This is amazing. That means about half of the time he is going to get an extra 35% turn meter. Anytime you can gain turn meter, that is a good thing. This attack has a high damage variance. This is really, really nice. While it is inconsistent, tanks never hit for much. And so to see a tank on occasion hit for 12k or 7k is exciting. So I do like the fact that they've given him the high damage variance. That is where he shot. Basically, it speeds him up on his basic, makes him faster by giving him extra turn meter. So he gives himself extra turn meter, pretty awesome. What he's known for is his draw fire and bluff. His draw fire is his special. It is a taunt. It has a cooldown of 6. You can make that 5. I do not recommend spending the Omega material unless you use him in the arena to get through 12 matches. Then you may want his cooldown reduced, but they are so hard to get these pieces. There are better abilities for you to max out on him. Now, Han, with this draw fire, will taunt for 3 turns. I believe there are only 4 tanks in the entire game that taunt for 3. Most taunt for 2, so that is great. 3 turns is a long time. Now it says all other allies will gain 30% turn meter. So he taunts and everybody on your team gets 30% turn meter. If your other characters were not going to go 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, they will now, because now they've all been boosted on turn meter 30%, which is a significant chunk of turn meter. And if you've made your team faster through secondary stats, it is guaranteed that you're going to go 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. This gives your characters the opportunity to decimate the other side without them being able to retaliate. And by the time they get a chance to retaliate, they've already lost 1 or 2 of their characters, and it's game over. Draw fire is single-handedly one of the most hated abilities in the entire game because it gives their characters the first round, basically the entire first round. So this is why everyone uses him. Now, anytime you see "in addition" in the wording, you must get excited because that means he doesn't stop there. He's got an additional ability. In addition to giving everybody 30% turn meter on his team when he taunts, all other allies gain 20% turn meter. That's 1/5 of their turn meter whenever he's damaged. Now, he just taunted, so guess what? He's going to be damaged by direct fire, AoE, whatever. And so he's going to, every time he gets hit, give everybody on the team 20% turn meter. That is scary because it makes the entire team work faster, faster, faster. So this is why people absolutely love him or hate him. If you're going against him and you can't take away his taunt, this is the worst possible thing that could happen to you. So I do recommend you have an ability to eliminate taunt by using someone like Sunfac or Tebow or Qui-Gon Jinn. Someone like that, maybe Echo. Make sure you have an ability to get rid of the positive status effects on the opponent, basically through someone that can remove the taunt, because if you cannot, you will be devastated by a team with Stormtrooper Han for this reason alone. So draw fire, the best taunt in the entire game, I believe. It is amazing, gives all your team turn meter and then gives him turn meter when he's hurt. Plan B. This is his leadership ability. I do not have it very high. However, it is a great leadership ability. For many people, early to mid-game, they use him as a leader because he makes their team much more durable in the arena to survive long enough that they can take out the other team, especially if they're using high DPS characters that need just a little bit more durability early to mid-game when they're playing in the arena. So what it does, Plan B, is it gives him plus, all allies get plus 35 defense when they're above 50% health, and plus 25% offense while below 50% health. Now, envision this with me if you will. Your character has health bar and a protection bar above it. They have to kill, your opponent has to kill all of the protection and then half of the health before the secondary part of this is going to trigger. So 75% of the health and protection have to be destroyed before the second part of this Plan B will kick into play. So for 75% of your character's life, their health and protection, they're going to have additional defense, 25 additional defense. That makes them tankier, much more resilient, and they're going to last a whole lot longer. So that's 75% of the battle for them. For the last 25% of their battle, when they're down into the 50% or below health, they gain 25% offense, which means essentially they go out with a bang. As soon as they've got all their protection taken and half or more of their health taken, they then start hammering the opponents with plus 25% more offense. And I will tell you, plus 25% offense is a ginormous chunk of offense to have. It does make all your characters hit for a whole lot more. So this is awesome. It makes your characters more resilient, more durable. And when they finally do get to the point where they're about to die off, they start hitting with 25% more offense on their hits. That is absolutely awesome. Now, it is awesome, but I don't have it leveled up. That is because I don't use him as a leader. And of course, these ability mats, especially the Mark III, that purple, I never have. As soon as I get them, I spend them. And so you've got to make sure you're spending them correctly on the characters and the abilities that you want to level up. This is not an ability that I've ever used, but I have seen people use it, and it works very well for those who do use it. His Bluff, kind of works side by side with his Draw Fire. So Draw Fire is designed to give everyone on your team turn meter, both when he taunts and every time he takes damage. The converse or opposite is Bluff. Bluff does the opposite by taking turn meter from the opponent in two different ways. So Han has a 25% chance to remove 30% turn meter from each enemy at the start of his turn. So at the beginning of his turn, he takes 30% turn meter from everybody 25% of the time. Essentially, there's a 25% chance he could take their turn meter, and that means potentially he could take everyone's turn meter by 30%. That is nuts. Now, more than likely with 25%, he's going to get one or two of the opponents and take 30% of their turn meter. But that just might be the character you need them to lose turn meter on. And so this is great. Anytime you're taking turn meter away, that's awesome. And then it says, in addition, again, get excited. We see in addition, it means it has a second ability. Han has a 25% chance for each person on the other side to remove 10% turn meter whenever he's damaged. So every time he's damaged, if he's taunting, he gives his team 20% turn meter, and he takes 10% turn meter away from everybody on the other side at 25% of the time. So there's a 25% chance. So potentially, would never happen, but potentially he could take away 10% turn meter from all five if the RNG played just right each time he got damaged, and 30%, if the RNG was perfect, from everybody on the other side at the start of his turn. So anyway, he's gonna mess with your opponent's team's turn meter in two different ways, both when he takes damage and at the start of his turn, and he's giving, through his taunt and through taking damage after he taunts, additional turn meter for his team, and his wary shot gives himself additional turn meter during 55% of the time on a basic. So he is a turn meter manipulator master. He is amazing. I would highly recommend this guy for sure. Now let's go ahead and see how I modded him. Now he is a tank, and so I do recommend health and defense type mods. Those are the best probably for a tank, so that's the route I went with. On health, you get a 5% bonus, and on defense, you get a 5% bonus. I have two of those, so I have a plus 10% defense bonus overall. Now you'll know why I have him modded when we go through here. It's all about the speed, baby. That's what you need for him, because you need your Han to go before other people's Hans, because once he goes, he'll give your entire team turn meter, and then your whole team gets to go. So on the top left transmitter, it's always offense, but if you notice, he has 4.2% additional critical chance and 15 speed. Anytime you can get 10 or above on a secondary speed stat, you take it. So I put that in there. On his processor, it's always defense, of course. Now it's a 4-dot, but it had 11 speed. So of course that was definitely going to find its way onto Stormtrooper Han. On the bottom left, it's could be health or protection. My goal, my optimal would have been protection. It's a bigger bang for your buck. Unfortunately, I did not have a protection mod to put in here, but I did have plus 13% speed. And if you look at the secondaries, it did give him 2% protection and 524% or 524 protection. So I gave him a little superficial protection that way as well. On the top right, of course, I used speed because I'm wanting to make him fast. There's some superficial protection and health. In the middle right holo array, you could do protection, highly recommended. You do protection to make him more durable so he lasts longer. But this one had a 14 speed on a secondary stat, which is nice. And so I did critical chance. Now, having a higher critical chance is not a bad thing because he has a damage variance that widely varies. So when he hits, he can hit for a lot. If you give him a critical chance boost, he will crit more often. And when he has that high damage variance and he hits for a lot, it will more than likely crit. You'll get to see him and see how he hits here in a minute when I test drive him. And then on the bottom right, multiplexer, you could do potency and tenacity, or you could do protection. Protection, again, I would never fault anyone. That's awesome, would make him super durable. And if you had those 3 slots as protection, he would definitely last a whole heck of a lot longer. I did do tenacity because he does get hit with things like stuns from Royal Guards or from Emperor Palpatine's, things like that, and a little bit more tenacity will help. Obviously, it's only going to help about 1/3 of the time, but it's better to help 1/3 of the time than 1/5 of the time. So I did give him the tenacity. The +6 speed and protection is superficial, but it was something to add. Of course, I could have better mods in here, but this is, again, working with what I have. This was the best I had. Now let's see where he is at for me. Now remember, I only have to have him faster than anyone on my arena, so we will test him in the arena so you can see his speed and see if it makes the cut. Surprisingly, most tanks and healers have a high strength. His strength is a little higher than average, but is actually very low for a tank. His agility, though, is surprisingly high. That happens to involve his physical damage and his critical rating as well as armor. So that is why he's one of the hardest hitting tanks in the game, very hard hitting at times. So I love that about him. Now, his health and protection combined is around 40,000. That's not good. That is equivalent to an Ayla Secura or a Kit Fisto or some other attacker, not really a tank. Really, this is more like a tanky attacker. So his durability isn't there, but again, he's a specialist. His design is to taunt, take a ton of damage, die in the process more than likely, but give your other team a ton of turn meter so they can destroy the team that you're going against. He does have a 215 speed for me. I was able to get that up almost 90. That is great, although I've seen these characters up around 250 before, so you can get them very, very fast. Now, I have a Lando lead on my arena team, so Lando gives him another 15 speed, which makes him 230 on my arena. That is far faster than anybody else's Han Solo, so we're good. His critical damage is at base 150. His potency is at 28%, which is not that good, but his tenacity is around almost 47%, which is okay. That means about taking out the 15% guarantee that 15% of the time they can make it effect. He's about going to get about resist an effect about 1/3 of the time. That's not bad. That's pretty decent. He does have health steal. Health steals at 15%, which is okay. That means every time he deals damage, he's going to gain life equal to 15% of the damage he dealt. And his physical damage is at over 2,000, which isn't bad for a tank. His physical critical chance is almost 54%. That's actually pretty darn good if you compare to other characters, so not bad. I know my mods did raise it about 16%. His armor's weak for a tank. He really has not very good armor, but it is with mods over 30%, so that is enough to keep him in the fight for as long as he needs to be. And the rest of it, his special damage, special crit, all that, his resistance is subpar. So really, he's a specialist. He's designed to take away turn meter from the opponents, give your team turn meter, and give himself turn meter on his basic. So he's manipulating the whole time, and he's taking it for the team, falling on the sword, if you will. So let's go ahead and test drive him. I want to test drive him in the arena so you can really see how that draw fire gives your team the ability to go first. So let's do that. Squad arena. And I was kind of hoping I would have gotten bumped out of first place. It doesn't look like that happened today yet anyway. But I see a couple of teams. There's a couple of wedge leads. And then there is this to the right, this Rex lead. Now Rex, this is an all clone army. They are number 2, and their arena power is pretty close at 4,000. So we'll just go ahead and go against the clones. By the way, clones are a difficult fight. If you have never fought a all clone team, they are very difficult. So if you ever wanted to see what the clones were like, this is an excellent preview for you to see how well they can fight. Now I have a Lando lead for the extra speed as well as the critical damage. And then I have my Wedge and Biggs to do a lot of damage. And then I have my Stormtrooper Han and my Sunfac. My Sunfac is in there because he takes away or dispels the tank ability, although I don't think they're not even using a taunter, so that is an unnecessary character to have in there at this point. But we're going to go ahead and do this battle now so you can see how Stormtrooper Han works. Now, I have my Biggs very fast. He's actually faster than Stormtrooper Han. And the reason why I do this is I really want to eliminate one of their characters right off the bat. And Echo has a pretty decent AoE, and he does a lot of assisting, and you don't want him assisting the others. So we're going to go ahead and try and take him out, which we did. And now my Stormtrooper Han gets to go first. Well, he got to go second. Or third, if you consider Rex, I guess. So pretty fast team that I'm going against. So he taunted, and now everybody got turn meter. And I'm going to go ahead and use his AoE. And I am going to go ahead and start going after Cody next. He's squishier than all the rest, and Cody also has an AoE and stuff. Although I'll tell you, the damage Cody does is underwhelming. They really needed to do more with him. That was their 212th attack. Again, it should take someone out. You'd think with, you know, all 5 of them shooting at a character that they'll destroy him, but you can see they hit my tank and didn't do a whole lot of damage. And one shot kill from him, that 17,000 single shot. That's another reason why we use them. Now I'm going to go ahead and, Rex's leadership, even after he dies, will continue on with the other characters, but Rex in and of himself is still a threat, so let's go ahead and try and take him out. There we go. And we're going to take care of Fives last. Fives does a lot of countering. So we're going to use him last. And you can see how Stormtrooper Han has taken all the brunt of this damage and will die, but all my other characters are virtually untouched. That is the entire point of Stormtrooper Han. Now we'll do a triple. And now I will taunt with my other tank. And look at all those negative status effects. That's excellent. 18,000 on a basic. All right, and that's all she wrote. The tank, or the clone army you just watched, is actually a very good team. I like going against the team, and sometimes the RNG gives them a little more favor than that, but that wasn't a bad fight at all. But that is Stormtrooper Han. Let's see if I have any. No, I do not have any. Let's just go ahead and leave it at there. I was going to try and go in and do a mod battle, but it looks like I don't have any energy for that. So Stormtrooper Han, his design to stay out on the field, to taunt, to destroy turn meter on the opponent's team, to give you turn meter, and to take one for the team, falling on the sword and dying. He does exactly as he's intended. You saw in my last battle, he was able to take pretty much all of the damage from the clones while my other team mopped the clones up. So that is exactly what he's intended for. If you like the videos, make sure you go and check out all my videos. I get lots of people asking me, do you do this video or that? And if you go back, I have nearly 100 videos over the last 45 days. That is basically one video every 2 days, and I have lots and lots of videos, so please go check out my archives. And if you want to know more about me, you can always check out my about screen in my YouTube channel. What is the tankiest Stormtrooper Han you've ever seen? Does somebody in your team have a very tanky Stormtrooper Han that's more comparable to a real tank? Or is 40,000 about all you ever see your Stormtrooper Hans out there on? Let me know in the comments down below what the tankiest Stormtrooper Han is that you've seen. And as always, have yourselves a wonderful afternoon. Keep your gaming on, Warrior.